as the girls have gotten a little older, when did you start to notice big differences in personalities or preferences, those kinds of things?
I was going to say the personalities came in right away.
Right away.
Even with the nursing, like
Yeah.
I noticed one was a little bit more needy, fussy, demanding, and one was a little more laid back, easier to pacify, easier to soothe, quiet. Like I noticed those differences right out of the gate.
Okay.
And like we've often talked about, they switch sometimes.
Yeah, they do switch.
What do you
like-
mean, they switch?
Like their personalities will switch for.
Yeah.
You think you have one pegged as being a certain way, and then kind of the other one takes over that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
If you wanna,
So how about with your girls?
Probably, I mean, they have their little personality differences as far as feeding and preferences of how they like to be changed and that kind of stuff. But as far as probably about a year, real personality differences.
Yeah.
Skyla she started getting up on all fours, like first. We thought she was going to crawl first. Danica like sat back, watched, and was like, Danica was the crawler first. She like mastered it. We say that Danica sat back, watches, and it's like, oh, I got this. I can do this better than you.
Yeah.
So, and it's been like that with everything, like learning to talk and walking and counting and learning their letters. It's all, Skyla always starts it first, and Danica somehow masters it before Skyla gets it completely down.
Yeah, benefits of being a twin. To watch the other one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, you were going to
I was going to say, one of my Paisley would usually come out of the gate doing something first, and it was always like, you could kind of time it almost like 3 to 4 weeks, and the other one was doing the same thing, like but their walking was closer together. I think my Paisley started on one day, and then Sophia just a couple days after. So I really do think that watching that other one do that
Okay.
makes a huge difference, because they'll get up and try it too.
So what about, do you feel the need, or what, I'm trying to get to the question of one-on-one time. Do you have to carve that out so that you have one-on-one time with each twin? Or
I don't carve it out, but I feel like it finds me. Like
Okay.
I'll have one on my lap for 20 or so minutes when she's just needing some time.
Yeah.
And I just take that and I realize this is it. This is your
it.
one-on-one time with this child, and soak it up and talk to her about what you can, look in her eyes. And I mean, I don't really make it happen, but it just kind of happens sometimes.
Yeah.
But
Nice.
just kind of when they need it, really.
Yeah.
I've heard a lot of other folks kind of do it that way, like say this is your day, and we'll take the
Yeah, I've
one
known
out.
other parents
and I've
that'll
thought about that. So
Yeah.
I think as they get a little older here, maybe we might try certain things like
Schedule
that.
an outing
Yeah.
with just the
Yeah,
one child.
yeah.
Yeah.
But it's kind of happened a little bit more, I guess, organically, just at this point in
Yeah.
time.
Yeah. How about for you, Jessy?
Pretty much the same thing. It just kind of happens.
Yeah.
And I'm very conscientious about it. Like, if I know one night Danica needed more love and attention and one-on-one time, I try to give as much to Skyla as possible. My girls right now don't do well separated. We've tried it a few times. Like,
Okay.
my husband's tried taking one and I've tried taking one, and they
Ah.
don't do so well.
So what happens? They become emotional? Or?
Yeah, they cry a lot and want sissy. And
Wow.
so
That's pretty sweet.
maybe in a year or so we'll,
Yeah.
try to push that limit further. But
Have you experienced that with
Mine
your girls?
did a day of preschool without each other. One was sick and one wasn't. So one went to preschool and one stayed home. And the one that went to preschool, I think she was very preoccupied and she didn't have much of a problem. Of course, she's kind of like my more forward one anyways. And she was okay with it. But I think the one who stayed home that day, of course, she wasn't feeling well.
Right.
But she was a little bit more, she wanted me. She asked about Paisley a few times.
Yeah.
And I think she was a little bit more emotional about it. But the other was just kind of like, all right, I'm going to go to school and get this done. And she didn't really mind that much.
Yeah. So what about in preschool or play dates? And your girls may not be quite old. You might be having play dates by now. But
play dates, but no preschool.
I was going to ask about friends. Do they tend to have their own friends, or they have the same friends?
pretty well with us since we're 5 and we did go through preschool. It is kind of cute. They both picked the same girl to be their friend, and they kind of shared her, and they both just talk about her constantly, and so it was a little triangle in preschool. Now that school's out all summer, it's been the little neighbor girl, and she's kind of been the shared friend. So at this point in time, they've really only shared friends. They haven't had each their own, but they are starting kindergarten, and they are going to be both in the same class.
I was just going to ask if they were going to be in the same classroom.
So
now, is that intentional?
it was, yeah. I thought they were switching schools, and they had, like I said, they had that little friend already, and just switching environments. I thought it would be nice for them to be together at first, and then maybe next year we'll look into having them in separate classes.